And I said, come over, come on over, you'll say.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Town of Portland podcast. And we are live here in the Town Tech Educational Podcast Studio at Portland High School. And for her last podcast, Susan, this is going to be it.
Well, I would like to come back sometime too, if I could, Dave, but my last is First Selectwoman, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes, this is my last day.
Your last
Yes.
day. And also, ladies and gentlemen, with us in the studio is our astute First Selectman, our new First Selectman, Mr. Ryan Curley. Hi, Ryan. How you doing?
Great. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Dave, and congratulations to you, Susan. This is very, very exciting. Well-deserved retirement.
That's right, and congratulations to you. I'm so happy for you and for our town. We're going to have great years ahead of us under Ryan Curley.
Fantastic. And just so everybody knows, this is going to be actually episode number 42. And also joining us on the phone, we have our Senator Norm Needleman. So, Norm, thank you so much for joining us and bidding Susan a fond farewell. Welcome.
Thank you, Dave, and congratulations, Ryan, and always an honor to be on with Susan. It's sad and happy at the same time. Got grandchildren and wants to spend time with her family, which I admire, and put in so much time and effort in leading Portland for so long.
Well, certainly it was not a 9-to-5 job for Susan, believe me. I mean, many times I would come in on the weekend to check the servers, and there's Susan's car out in the parking lot and so forth. So it was definitely a labor of love for sure. And I think if we fixed her hours and so forth, I think she would probably have been working for about 50 cents an hour. So Norm, tell us a little bit about how it was working with Susan over your years and tenures as a senator.
Well, it's obviously I'm also a First Selectman, and I've said this a number of times before. I'm still a First Selectman. I've just won my 6th term, but Susan, as much as anybody, if not more than anybody, has been a mentor and a friend and an example of exactly what you want in a leader, somebody who leads for everybody and not just for party or a limited few. She's been an example of you do your campaigning, it's over, and then you get back to the business of running a municipality, which honestly, doing both positions is a very rewarding job, and I'm convinced Susan's left a great imprint on Portland and left the town in great shape for Ryan and the new team to come in and lead it going forward. So,
absolutely. Well, Ryan is here, and obviously he's kind of new at the game, so I think. Between all of the resources that are available to him and the people that he's worked for, I'm sure we'll keep him off the streets, right, Ryan?
I certainly hope so. But I just want to say that I have worked with Susan now for a decade, and I worked with Susan for 4 years myself when I served on the Board of Selectmen. I saw how she worked back then. She still does an excellent job for the town. But it really, I would say, wasn't until I worked as town clerk and worked inside of town hall where you really see the hours and the work that has to go into this job. And Susan has handled that so well for the town of Portland. And we are all going to miss her.
Oh, thank you, Ryan. Thank you. I certainly enjoy it, and it certainly is something that I know you're going to enjoy. There's so many opportunities that you get to experience that I think most jobs you just wouldn't ever even know. You're not going to be involved with leaders like yourself, Norm, on a day-to-day basis sometimes. I know that Norm and I, Ryan, have worked quite a bit on Eversource and the needs that our community has for electricity and rates, as well as some of our clean energy initiatives, as well as just good relationships with the state and the departments that provide us with so many services, Department of Transportation, and certainly Department of Economic and Community Development. We're going to be working, the town's going to be working with the Department of Public Health. I know that we're getting a consultant for our water needs, and Ryan's going to be working with a new consultant to help us meet the best decision and help us make that decision, Norm. So I want to thank you as well, Norm, for your guidance and your leadership. There's always the need to have someone like yourself, our state senator, and I'll add also our state representative, Christy Carpino, who I have worked hand in hand with both of you to reach out to the various agencies as well as the governor's office to help Portland. And I must say, you never disappoint. You and Christy work as partners and certainly have been so good to the town of Portland. And I fully expect that both of you will continue to provide that guidance and let's say family love to the town of Portland and to Ryan as he proceeds.
Absolutely. I think it's a team effort, and I think that's one of the things that you've been able to do over your tenure, Susan, is to develop that coalition of partners and connections, and that has been so beneficial to the town.
Yeah, and you as well, Dave. You and I have worked together so well on initiatives for technology improvements as well as initiatives for public works and how important that is to our community to make sure our streets are clear, to make sure that our roads are passable, our sidewalks are maintained, as well as just having the camaraderie of the people who work for the town, really taking such pride in the work that's done.
Yes, and Norm, you being kind of wearing two hats, not only as a senator but as a first selectman, you know exactly what it's out there as far as in relation to running a town and communicating with the citizenry and so forth. So, we certainly do appreciate all of that you've done for the town and been able to bring to the table, on our state level and so forth, and hopefully. Working with Ryan and so forth, we can keep that relationship going and keep those initiatives coming and, go from there.
Of course, I've never looked at a town as being a Republican or a Democratic town. They're towns that I represent, and I have to say, Ryan, you have big shoes to fill because there's no better advocate for any town that I represent than Susan. My phone rings.
Okay. Norm, we have somebody else chiming in on the call. Who do we have on the call now?
Russ from Chatham Health District.
Oh, hi, Russ.
Hey,
Good
Russ,
morning.
how are you?
Good, how are you?
Excellent. Thanks for talking in, Russ. We have Senator Needleman on the line, so stay tuned, and we'll pass it around here.
I'll sit tight until I'm called on. How about that?
I know you have a lot of people lined up, and I'm going to jump off so that everybody else has an opportunity. But I just want to say, as a friend, a mentor, somebody who's taught me a lot about how to lead a municipality and certainly made me a better state senator, I'm going to miss Susan. I look forward to working with Ryan in any way I can, water and brownfields. Saw that grant come through, the additional part of that brownfield grant. Those are the kinds of things that having a municipal leader who knows people at the state level, it matters. Believe it or not, longevity in this job matters because you get to know the players. And certainly I have never met anybody at the state level in the agencies who, when they heard Susan's name, had anything other than nice things to say, but also, more importantly, who listened to her leadership at CCM, representing the smaller town interests. All of these things are very, very important in a municipal leader. So, Susan, I'm going to personally miss you. I want to stay in touch. And Ryan, I'm here for you if you don't have my cell phone number, Susan.
I'll give it to him, Norm, for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's so great to hear from you.
You'll be on speed dial, Norm.
You know what? That's what I'm here for.
Thank you,
All right, everyone.
ladies and gentlemen. Senator Norm Needleman. Thank you, Norm. I appreciate it, and be well, and we'll be in touch. All right.
Thank you. Then take care. Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye. All right. That was Senator Norm Needleman wishing well to Susan. And just joining us is our Chatham Health Director, Mr. Russ Melmed, who has been a frequent flyer on the Town of Portland podcast.
I'm going to miss those.
And he's been an unbelievable resource in keeping the town up to date and actually, ahead of the curve in relation to a lot of the rest of the towns within the district. So, again, Russ, thanks so much for coming on. So, hey, I think we had a real successful vaccination clinic on Friday.
We sure did. Chatham Health District does not carry the Pfizer vaccine, and we are not actively ourselves vaccinating children, but we did partner with the schools who were interested in coordinating a clinic for families who were interested. So we worked with Griffin Health, who has a number of mobile vans that will come out and do clinics, and they set one up at the high school on Friday, and I think vaccinated 137 people.
Good,
so
huh?
it really was successful. I think the clinics that they're running that we're helping coordinate in partnership with the schools are, no appointment necessary, pop up, come one, come all things, which are great for people who, haven't made an appointment but want somewhere nearby to get their kids vaccinated. But the downside certainly is that when you get a surge of people right at the beginning of the clinic, there's going to be a little bit of a wait. So some people waited an hour and a half to get their little ones vaccinated. But patience was the name of the day, really. It was great to see. We brought a lot of snacks to give the kids who were waiting in line. So I think the parents appreciated that we brought snacks for their kids who could enjoy those while they waited. But it was a successful clinic. The Portland High School, Middle School cafeteria is just a great space to use. So thanks to Charles Britton for the use of the building. It was great. We're coordinating with schools that have asked for these clinics in a number of other places. So we were at RAM on Saturday. I think we're going to be in Colchester and in East Hampton towards the end of this week. There are a lot of families who are really, really eager to get their kids vaccinated, and we're happy to help coordinate that for them.
Great, Russ. What was the total number on Friday?
137.
Nice.
137 on Friday.
Very, very nice.
The vans, they come with 150 doses, so they really almost maxed out. They
Wow.
probably would have,
Close.
but some folks left the line because the line was just too long.
Yeah,
so, it is what it is. Not everybody can wait an hour and a half to get the vaccine.
No, for sure. And I took advantage of the snacks while I was waiting. And
Good for you, Dave. Yeah, thanks, Dave. Thanks to you for being out there to help film a PSA. I think we had 4 families who were willing to go on camera and talk about, why they were choosing to get their children vaccinated, and hopefully we can work on putting that together and getting it out there so people can see, what the experience was like for some what we'll call early adopters.
Sure. Well, Town Tech is working on the post-production as we speak. So,
and I think you have a clinic for the seniors, don't you, this week too?
We do. So that's something that Chatham Health District is focused on early on was offering vaccine to seniors and other adults. I think in February we offered vaccine to people who are 75 years or older in Portland. That was actually our first mass vaccination clinic of the whole vaccination effort was early in February. We vaccinated seniors in Portland, and so we're back to offer boosters for seniors, and we're going to be rotating those clinics around the district just as we have been. So we're in Portland this week, actually, I think.
Yes, I'm going to be in line, Russ.
Oh, great. Okay. I'm glad you can avail yourself of our services, Dave.
Sure, and bring snacks.
Okay, we'll bring snacks just for you. I'll keep them behind the check-in desk.
There you go. Fantastic. So that's been really keeping you busy, Russ, and I know the whole staff at Chatham Health. Can you give us a real quick snapshot of the numbers in the district now as far as in relation to infection rates and so forth?
Yeah, so they've been bouncing around. I mean, we were doing really well, I'd say, in May and June. I mean, things were great. Then the Delta variant was sort of unexpectedly emerged as something that was more transmissible than the Alpha variant that we had been dealing with that came out of the UK, and we saw COVID rates surge really unexpectedly for New England to see a surge of a respiratory virus in the summer, but that's what we saw. And that peaked around August and has been sort of coming steadily down, I would say, but bouncing up and down as you see with the virus. As you'll see cases go up a little bit, go down a little bit, but generally now heading in the right direction. Portland was doing as well as any town in the state. Really, we hadn't seen 5 cases in any week in Portland for about 3 weeks. Up until recently, the most recent report, we did see a little bit of an uptick in Portland. But that's just to be expected. As the weather cools, we are going to see cases rebound. That's just my expectation. Even though in Portland, for example, 70% of the population has been fully vaccinated, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
and then some other percentage, let's say 10 or 12%, have had natural infection recovered. There's still, somewhere in the area of 20% of residents in Portland that haven't yet been exposed to the virus, haven't got vaccinated. So we're going to see a little surge, and we're starting to see that now as people go inside because it's getting cooler. But things are, generally speaking, going pretty well in Portland. High vaccination rates, relatively low infection rates compared to some of the neighboring towns. But people just need to be aware that if you're somebody, especially who is medically vulnerable, or you're an older adult, or you live with or spend a lot of time with people in either one of those categories and might be at risk for getting infected and bringing the virus to those individuals, be really careful. If you're not vaccinated yet, the time is now. And still a good idea, because even people who are fully vaccinated can get infected, even though the risk is about 5 times lower for people who are fully vaccinated compared to unvaccinated. You can still get infected and then transmit it to others. So if you're going to get together for the holidays, you're going to be around somebody who's medically vulnerable, still a good idea to wear a mask, just in case, and to keep your distance. Give a hug, and then keep your distance, sit across the couch from that person just to keep them safe. But hopefully whatever surge we experience over the winter will not be anything like what we saw last winter and will abate quickly, and then we will have a wonderful spring and summer.
Yeah, that's
using my crystal ball there, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. And then, has there been a downtick in the unvaccinated population, or are people kind of seeing the light?
It's been slow. So there are still some portion of the population are unvaccinated, and the degree to which we've seen those folks seek out their first dose of vaccine has not been as what we would like to see, but people are slowly coming around. And I think the more people see their friends, families, neighbors get the vaccine and not have any really adverse side effects, I think the more people will choose to get vaccinated. But it's slow. That's all. It's slow.
Well,
I think if there's something that is keeping people from getting vaccinated, other than just wanting to see how things go with the vaccine.
Right.
I've heard a lot of people concerned about things with the vaccine. There's a lot of misinformation out there. I certainly understand hesitancy from it's a new vaccine and I want to see how it goes perspective. But we've been with this vaccine now for, since December.
Mm-hmm.
So almost a year.
Right.
If we were going to see widespread awful side effects from the vaccine, we would have seen it by now. So
Right.
I think hopefully the hesitancy abates.
Now is the booster dose going to be a full dose, or is it going to be a half dose like the child's version?
It depends on the vaccine. I think the Johnson & Johnson booster is a full dose of Johnson & Johnson. The boosters for Moderna and Pfizer are, I believe, half doses of the adult doses.
Okay.
So, and the pediatric vaccines are actually less than that.
Okay.
Less than half a dose.
Right.
So if you think about, like the Moderna vaccine comes with 100 micrograms of the active ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
The booster doses are 50. So
Okay.
it's fully half dose, and it's the same with Pfizer.
Right.
Pfizer doesn't have as much as 100 micrograms of the active ingredient in their normal adult dose, so half of the Pfizer is less than half of the Moderna, but they're just different vaccines. similar in a lot of ways, but different. So the boosters are half doses, with the exception of, I think, Johnson & Johnson, which is another full dose.
Right. And the Pfizer's the one with the storage, the colder storage, correct?
That's right. So for a long time, Pfizer, it had to be stored super cold, so around minus 90 degrees Celsius. So for those of you who know what minus 90 C is, it's around the temperature. It's actually below the temperature at which carbon dioxide freezes into ice. So that's really, really cold. Once you take it out of that super cold storage, it's good for about 5 days. And it also, the other thing that makes the Pfizer vaccine more difficult to handle is it has to be diluted. So it comes in two components. It comes with a lyophilized vial, so basically a freeze-dried vial that you then add a diluent to in a sterile setting. So it's not just the storage requirements, it's the handling requirements. Those are both the reasons why we're not carrying Pfizer.
Okay.
And the pediatric vaccine is actually safe for it for, I think, up to 10 weeks.
All right. Russ, I'm going to cut you short just a second here. Who joined us on the line?
It is Susan Bransfield, Lieutenant Governor.
Hi, Susan. How are you? I have Russ Melmed on the line with you, was just giving us an update on our Chatham Health Clinic. So thank you for joining us, Susan. With us in the studio is obviously our guest of honor, Ms. Susan Bransfield, and we have our new First Selectman, Mr. Ryan Curley, with us. So thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, Susan, to join us.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to say congratulations to Ryan Curley. I've had the pleasure of working with him as he's been town clerk, and the governor and I are looking forward to working with him as First Selectman, and so delighted to be here as well to say thank you to Susan Bransfield for her incredible and amazing service to Portland, but also to our state.
Oh, thank you, Lieutenant Governor Susan. It's great to hear your voice, as I often have over the last 18 years. You've been such a great friend to Portland, a good friend to me, as well as, just always there when we need your advice and also need your assistance. We had Senator Needleman on a few minutes ago, and as you heard, we have Russ Melmed, two other individuals that have just really been so important to our community, particularly in this last year and a half. I mean, we couldn't have done and gotten this far without our state officials as well as our local health department. It's been just really fulfilling to see this problem that we hate to have happen, but to see the expertise that Connecticut has, and under your leadership and our governor, Lieutenant Governor, we just have really blossomed into trying to do and get people back on track. And Russ Melmed, you've just been fantastic to work with, such a great epidemiologist in terms of helping us understand this COVID-19. It's not just a disease, but it's also an emotional time. And I just want to thank all of you for your assistance. I know that you're going to be there for Ryan Curley as well. And
absolutely. And
thank you.
Russ Melmed, thank you. I will tell you that the governor and I have a tremendous appreciation for the importance of leadership at the municipal level. And we could not have done what we did without the close collaboration of all of our mayors and first selectmen and our health departments. And as you know, Susan, throughout the pandemic, we were on the phone on a regular basis. Yes. For an hour or two once a week, or sometimes more, depending on what was going on. Right. And it was that close communication and the learning from what our municipal CEOs were seeing on the ground that helped us guide the state through the pandemic. And I think we also, in addition to having a special appreciation for municipal leadership. We also truly appreciate the great work that our local health districts and departments have done throughout this pandemic. They've been key to helping our state be the best vaccinated state and the state with the lowest positivity. So we're really, really
We sure are.
very,
We sure
very
are.
grateful, Russ and Susan.
Yeah, and I want to give one short vignette, and that is one day I had a call from a person here in town who really could not get out of the house. He was homebound. And as it turned out, he was also a veteran, a U.S. veteran. And I called our lieutenant governor and reached out and said, look, we're doing everything we can with our health district, but in terms of getting this individual vaccinated, how can you help us? And I'm so happy to remember, Lieutenant Governor, how you were able to help us get in touch with the Department of Veteran Affairs and make certain that someone was able to go visit that gentleman, and then another gentleman as well that we knew could not possibly get to a clinic. And I can't tell you what a grateful person those two individuals are, and how proud I am of you for not just helping the whole state, but also reaching down to that individual and always being there, Lieutenant Governor, for our veterans. And I know you're going to continue in that role, and I can't thank you enough.
Absolutely, and if Ryan doesn't already have it, you can give him my cell phone. So
Okay, that's the second one, second offer today.
So if there is anything that I can continue to do to help Portland, I'll be there. And Susan, I also, since you brought up veterans, I have to say it's been such a pleasure to work with both you and Ryan, and Bernie Dillon, who was Ryan's predecessor, to honor first World War II veterans, then Korean War veterans, and then more recently our Vietnam veterans. Portland is such a patriotic town, and those ceremonies were really great, and it was an honor to meet your veterans.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. I appreciate it. In fact, trying to get this happening here, and it has been like I say, Susan kind of threw us a curveball. Initially, her last day was going to be Wednesday, and she says, "Oh, my last day is Monday." So I was sitting at the Infinity Theater last night, texting everybody's chief of staff. The governor is going to be calling in at 10:30, and John Larson's just about ready to call in. So, and I know they're
it's great. And I just want to mention one other thing about Susan Bransfield's service is that she, of course, served Portland very well for 18 years, but she's also been a leader at the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, helping other CEOs of towns and cities across the state move our state forward. And, we have many different kinds of Connecticut. We have urban, suburban, we have small towns, we have medium-sized cities. And her voice has been one that has been very, very important. And I know the governor and I are going to miss her, but she'll know where to find us if we can ever be of help. And I'm glad that all of these great people are calling in to add their praise for her great service. It's been my pleasure. I'm just across the river, Ryan, so you know where I am.
That's right.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor.
Lieutenant.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Nice
Lieutenant
talking to
Governor.
everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
And that was Lieutenant Governor Susan Bransfield. And believe me, Susan, we're not really going to let you get far away. Don't you worry. Ryan's got you on speed dial. So anyway, I'm here in the studio. I'm texting Congressman Larson's chief of staff, and he's just getting ready to call in now. So we have the governor going to be calling in at 10:30, and just so everybody knows, both the governor and Congressman Larson are going to be boarding a plane within the hour to head down to D.C. to take part in the infrastructure signing bill. So
I hear Connecticut may be getting $6 billion over 10 years for infrastructure. Did I hear that right?
Yes.
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 Wow.
Yeah, really Tremendous.
Tremendous.
So anyway, but that's
Well, Dave, while we're waiting for those folks, since everybody's sharing stories about Susan, I'll share one.
Oh, boy.
absolutely. We're taking notes.
Yeah. This is, obviously it's a time to celebrate Susan. So thanks for your leadership, Susan. You've been a really real advocate for regionalized health department services, and you've provided me as a new health director sort of a window into some of our history here. So that's great. But really, what I want to talk about is December of 2020, when the vaccine was first made available, and the state had this grand plan of rolling it out to certain high-risk workforce groups. And we were all told, local health departments, to be ready to vaccinate teachers and to vaccinate other high-risk workforce segments of the workforce. So as we were preparing, literally without warning, the governor decided to change gears and go from a workforce-focused vaccine rollout to an age-focused vaccine rollout. Yeah. And so without warning, we all found out one morning that people ages 75 and up were now eligible to receive the vaccine instead of going with a workforce approach. And I think every town hall was bombarded, including Portland's, with phone calls from seniors asking, how the heck do I get this vaccine? I mean, these are the highest risk folks, people over 75, somewhere in the area of a 25% hospitalization rate for people who get COVID-19 in that age group. So they've been terrified for quite a long time. We're very eager to get the vaccine. So that morning I get a phone call from Susan. Susan says, Russ, did you know that this was going to happen? I said, I had no idea, Susan. I mean, we were ready. We had been talking to Charles Britton, getting ready to vaccinate teachers because that was the way the state had been telegraphing they were going, and this change came without warning. So Susan said, well, we've gotten 100 phone calls in the last 2 hours asking, as we had as well at the health department. So she said, how are we going to get these seniors vaccines? I mean, the calls that they were getting were that they couldn't get an appointment. They were trying to get an appointment. They didn't know how to get an appointment. And the only system available to seniors to get an appointment at that time was using a system called VAMS. Does everybody remember VAMS?
Yes,
oh, yeah.
We do.
VAMS. So this was a 3-step system to get a vaccine appointment. You first had to go online and make an account with VAMS. Then you had to get an email from VAMS that said, okay, you've registered, now make a password. You had to make a password, and then using that password, you had to go through a 2-factor authentication with a separate code to finally get access to the system where you could then make an appointment using this cloud-based system. So, I'm not sure how many 75-year-olds are really so adept at using the internet in that way. I mean, I struggled myself. So those are the calls that Susan was getting and that I was getting, and she said, we have to do something for our seniors. And Susan's idea really was game-changing for us in this area. Susan, you immediately put your senior center staff, who were largely idle. I mean, senior centers were closed, right?
Right.
They were largely idle, and your plan was to put together a hotline that seniors could call and have the senior center staff schedule appointments at a vaccine clinic that Chatham Health District would then run at the senior center, which is what we did. And it turned out to be a wonderful system, a great partnership between us and the town and the senior center. And we've ended up vaccinating hundreds of seniors that way. We rolled out basically the same system to every town in Chatham Health District. And seniors, I think, were so appreciative. All they had to do was call a familiar number, call the senior center, make an appointment, and we showed up with the vaccine and the vaccinators and the volunteers, and we did the job in partnership with the town. And I just think it turned out to be a game changer. And that was your leadership, Susan. I mean, I really didn't know what we were going to do. I just thought, well, VAMS is what we're stuck with, and seniors have to ask a family member maybe or a friend or a neighbor to help them with VAMS. And you suggested that we utilize otherwise idle municipal resources and partner in this effort. And I think it was wonderful. Really, it worked out very, very well. And we worked around and within a system that we were stuck with to make it easier, to sort of demystify the process for people who might have otherwise not been able to get a vaccine appointment on their own.
Yeah, there were some great results from that. I will agree with you on that. And I'll add, too, that, Dave helped get the telephone line established, being that he was familiar with our telephone system. And also, talk about teamwork, Russ, we had our librarians assisting as well in terms of getting some of that scheduling done and taking some of the calls and getting back to people. As you say, the teamwork approach certainly does work, and the familiarity that people got and that friendly voice at the end of the line. And also, I got to give a shout out to our Chatham Health nurse, Vicki, who really did yeoman's work in making sure that she was able to contact trace and also provide a happy voice and encouragement to our seniors as well as to our families in town. I got to thank her as well as you and the others at Chatham Health District that work with all of the towns in Chatham Health District. You have a big job to do, and you just do it well, and I'm proud of you.
Well, thanks for that. Well, thanks for all your support. It's been great. I mean, even though it's been dealing with a crisis, I think the support has been great. And just since we're still waiting, I'll say, the board at the last meeting, including Susan, who's been on the board for many years, approved the use of some of the unanticipated billing revenue that we got from billing for COVID-19 vaccines to give a little bit back to our businesses. And here's what we're doing. Since especially restaurants and hair salons and nail salons were hit pretty hard during COVID, what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to have our establishments enter into a drawing, essentially, to have their license fees forgiven this year. The way it's going to work is they're going to tell us what they're going to do in terms of adopting a policy that is good for COVID-19 prevention, whether that's putting a sign up, telling their employees about COVID-19 vaccines, or hosting a vaccine clinic, or recommending mask wearing in their establishments, or whatever it happens to be. We're going to give them a lot of flexibility to decide what COVID-19 prevention policy they're going to adopt. But if they adopt a policy, we're going to enter them in a drawing. And the board authorized the use of, I think, around $7,000, which is a considerable amount. What we'll do is I think we'll give 10 to different salons in the area, and then maybe 20 fee forgiveness awards to restaurants in the area. And all they have to do is just adopt the policy, tell us what they're doing, and we'll enter them in the drawing. And I think, that's an incentive for them. It's not a mandate, but it is an incentive. And so thanks to you, Susan, and the board for authorizing that. I think businesses have really had it tough
I agree.
during the pandemic, and anything we can do to promote good public health while making it a little bit easier on our businesses, that's something I'm in favor of. And, I'm happy to use some of those revenues that we generated that were unexpected to just give back, instead of taking that money and just putting it all into our undesignated fund balance. I think it makes a lot of sense to put that back into the businesses. So
yeah, and I think our businesses deserve it. They've had such a rough 18 months here, and it's just really a good way to say thank you for all that you've been doing, and also a nice incentive, a little star, if you will, that says we're so proud of you and what you're doing.
Yeah, and we'll make a big deal. The people who enter and the people who win, certainly, we'll put that out there so the public can see, what these businesses are doing and promote good public health practices.
Sounds great.
Fantastic, Russ. Thank you so much for, again, everything you do. And, I got to let everybody know you've been a faithful, frequent flyer on all of Susan's podcasts throughout. And like I say, this is episode number 42. Yeah. And I think you've probably been on at least 35 of them.
Yeah,
I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
I remember the first couple we did. I want to say you had almost 1,000 views.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Some of those early ones, I think people were eager for information. They were looking to people they could trust. So I think that
there we are.
A great resource.
Thank you, Russ.
Thank you, Russ. It's so good to talk to you.
All right. Hi, is this Congressman Larson?
Yeah, this is John Larson calling in.
Congressman, thank you so much. We just got through with our Chatham Health District, Mr. Russ Melmed and Lieutenant Governor Bystowitz pumped in here, but I know you got a busy schedule. You're on your way to D.C., but with us in the studio is obviously our illustrious First Selectman of many, many years, and also our new First Selectman, Mr. Ryan Curley's in it. So thank you so much for chiming in here, Congressman, and Susan's with us right now.
Well, I appreciate it, Dave, and congratulations to the new selectmen. And I can't tell you the incredible effort that was put forward by Susan. I mean, 9 incredible terms as the first selectwoman of Portland. We all know her leadership will be deeply missed, not just by Portland, but by the first congressional district and all of the state of Connecticut and the nation at large. It was a pleasure and an honor to work with her, and she's had so many firsts. It's remarkable, but just observing her throughout COVID was remarkable in and of itself. And she's just incredibly remarkable, truly epitomizes putting service above self. And she will be dearly missed, but I have a funny feeling that Susan will always remain part of the because that's what
Thank you,
she's made of.
Congressman. Thank you so much. It's so good to hear you, and thank you for your years of service to our 1st Congressional District and our country. Portland in particular thanks you for your work with Social Security and certainly your work with our veterans as well as so many other areas. So thank you so much.
We had somebody else speaking. Governor, is that you?
That is me. Who is this?
This is Dave Kuzminski. Governor, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. We have Congressman Larson on the line with us also, so you guys can chat with Susan. We also have our new First Selectman, Mr. Ryan Curley, in the studio with us. So thank you so much. I know you guys are on your way to Washington to within the next hour or so to sign the new infrastructure bill.
That's great.
That's right.
I'll kick
But
off. Hey, Susan, where are you going? You're too young to retire. You're younger than Larson and me, so no excuses. And,
Well, a little R&R for a while, Governor, and then certainly finding my passion, finding my interest. I have a lot of interest in senior needs, being one of them, and also a lot of interest in helping people that don't have homes. I think homelessness prevention and the last thing I really want to keep involved with is our environment. There's so many good things that you both, as our elected representatives, help us in terms of the next generation and keeping our environment safe and healthy. Our brownfields redevelopment, Governor, you've helped with us tremendously. And our Connecticut River, John Larson is always there for us, and I hope to continue that work.
Fantastic. Governor, thank you for calling in. I know you're a big friend of the water industry. As you know, I've had very involved in the American Waterworks Association in the Connecticut section, and I know I've talked with you many, many times over at the AquaTurf when you've been the speaker and so forth. But thank you. We've got some water issues coming up here in Portland, and we're looking for all the help we can get.
well, thanks, Brian. I look forward to getting together with you. And who knows, Susan, maybe, as they say in Portland, you'll come on over and help us in Hartford a little bit. Then Ryan will have a friend there in the administration.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
I still got to get to that park, the River Park. Is that what it is?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Exploratory
Yes.
Discovery Park.
Yes, Governor. Yes, we'll set a time for you to come and visit and enjoy the work that has been done. And Ryan Curley, I've worked with him now for 10 years, both as a selectman, Governor, as well as our town clerk. And I look forward to bridging any needs that he may have. Ryan's going to do a fine job as our first selectman, and anything I can do for you, Governor or Congressman or anyone that's on the call, our health district, being that I'll have a little more time, I'm happy to help in any way.
We're not going to let her get far, believe me.
Well, Susan, if I could just add, too, that Portland will always have a sentimental place in my heart because that's where Lars Larson and Marie Peterson, who immigrated from Sweden and worked in the Brownstown quarries and were in those little shanty village on Diggins Avenue, Governor. And that's why that Brownstown Park that you were such an integral and key part of it is just a wonderful asset for Connecticut. And we look forward to continue to work with you, Susan. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
And guys, thank you so much. And I know you guys have done yeoman's work in bringing a lot of the infrastructure money home to us. So thank you again. So, Governor, you still there?
I'm still here. I look forward to seeing you. Larson, Ryan, and I, Susan, will take you up rock climbing at the park at some point soon.
Okay.
And we're going to put you on a zip line. Do a little cliff jumping. So go.
Well, I'm in the talk is cheap category. Anyway, John, maybe I'll see you in Washington, and Susan and Ryan, I look forward to catching up with you
Governor,
both soon.
what a pleasure. Thank you so much for making my last day so memorable. Everyone, thank you. And thank you, Dave, the aficionado, for getting everybody together. What a great job. Thank you. And Ryan, it's good to be here with you.
And Governor and Congressman Larson, thank you, Chief of Staff, for coordinating with me to make this a memorable podcast for Susan. It was a little bit of a curveball when Susan told me that her last day was today and not Wednesday. So I was scrambling trying to get everybody on the call. So thank you so much.
So special.
And Governor, have a safe flight to D.C. and bring some of that infrastructure money home to Connecticut.
Hey, thanks, guys. And Susan, Portland, thanks you every day.
Thank you. Godspeed, Governor.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. All right.
Wow, what a day! It feels like it was worthwhile, very worthwhile. 18 years, and I get to get all these wonderful calls.
Yes.
And be in the studio with you, Dave, and with you, Ryan. It's just such a great day. Thank you.
Did somebody else jump in on the call here, or is that Russ jumping off?
No, I'm still on, but somebody else must have joined.
Okay. Anybody else on the call? You never know.
This was a busy morning, but I think from governor to lieutenant governor to our representative in Congress and our state senator and our director of health, our first selectman elect, who's going to be sworn in tomorrow night. I plan to be there. It's going to be quite a night, and I know that it's going to be a pleasure working with you as a citizen in our town. And anything I can do, Ryan, I'm here to help you.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you.
All right. Any words of wisdom, Ryan, for retirement for Susan?
I hope that Susan does not go far, but I also sincerely hope that she enjoys her well-deserved retirement, gets to spend some time with her grandchildren, and gets to have a little R&R because it's certainly well-deserved.
That's so nice. Thank you, Ryan.
Fantastic. And Ryan, we hope you're going to keep this tradition of podcasting going because it's been an excellent vehicle for communication, and I think Susan's enjoyed it.
Oh, I think it's so much fun. I love radio, and podcast is even better. It takes it to the next level. And I think that it's just a valuable service for our citizens, Dave. I can't thank you enough. And it's fun, too.
Sure.
If you're going to have to deal with problems, you may as well have fun trying to find the solutions together. And I know that Ryan's going to have fun being First Selectman as well as the serious stuff that has to be done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway.
Any words of wisdom from you, Dave Kuzminski?
No, I'm just trying to keep all the balls in the air. We had a power failure over the weekend, so I have to go back and deal with some IT issues. But anyway, to go from there. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was our episode number 42 here at the town of Portland. And our First Selectman, Ryan Curley, is with us. And this is Susan's last official podcast. Right. But we're going to be ringing your phone again and get you back in here.
Sure,
So
sounds great.
To go from there.
Thank you.
And we had on the call, we had our Governor Ned Lamont was with us, as well as Congressman from the 1st District, Mr. Congressman John Larson. Also our Lieutenant Governor, Ms. Susan Bransfield, as well as our State Senator, Mr. Norm Needleman. And Christy Carpino is working. She sent her best.
Great.
She was going to try to be here, but she couldn't guarantee it.
I just saw her on Veterans Day, and it's always been a pleasure. So sounds good.
All right. So Susan, Ryan, thank you so much for coming up.
Russ.
And Russ, thank you for doing all you do, and we'll be calling you again for the next podcast.
My pleasure, and Ryan's already got my cell phone number. So
yes, thank you, Russ. Looking forward to working with you.
All right. So until we meet again, get vaccinated and wear your mask if you can. So thanks so much. That does it here for our episode number 42 and our last podcast with our First Selectman, Miss Susan Bransfield. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, David.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Dave Kuzminski. Please tune in every week for new and relevant conversations about the town of Portland. You can find us at portlandct.org or at YouTube/Town of Portland, and now wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you've enjoyed our podcast, please consider subscribing and sharing with friends. This podcast was produced by the Town Tech Educational Partnership Program, which is a partnership between Portland High School and the Portland Town Hall. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or organization, check out towntech.org/podcast to learn more.